Hi, I'm Judy Kong, and you're watching CBS News. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at this year's presidential election season. Although no one has officially declared that they're running, everyone knows that the invisible primary has already begun. Candidates are already campaigning and raising funds without saying that they're in a campaign. By the fall, there will be one Democratic candidate and one Republican candidate vying off for the presidency. The two will have very different political ideologies. One will be a conservative and the other will be a liberal. But what do these terms actually mean? Let's take a look back to how these terms evolved in our nation's history. When liberalism first started in the 18th century, it was called classical liberalism. This essentially meant that they wanted less government and more individualism. As time progressed into the 20th century, liberalism became modern liberalism, where government expanded as a way of restricting capitalism. From the 1930s to the 70s, liberalism continued to grow. In the 1890s and 90s, presidents like Reagan and Nixon invalidated liberalism because they wanted to return to classical liberalism, the idea of limited government. Then, neoliberals started entering the scene. They were less reliant on the government. They said government had a role, but it wasn't as extensive. Liberalism is characterized by political and economic reform, expansion of federal social services, and efforts to keep those not in power. Conservatism is essentially classical liberalism. It reemerged in the 70s and 80s when Republicans controlled Congress. Additionally, neoconservatives support American intervention in foreign affairs. Characteristics of conservatism include opposition to government regulation of businesses, support for traditional family values, and opposition to government expansion. In addition, there were other political ideologies, including socialism and libertarianism. Socialism is a system in which means of production, distribution, and exchange are controlled by the government. On the other hand, libertarianism is an ideology that has an extreme emphasis on individual liberty. Now that we know a little bit more about U.S. political ideologies, we're going to head out on the street to find out what values people share about the government.
So what do you think about our government?
I definitely think that liberty, individualism, democracy, and equality are really important. I mean, we all have a duty to vote and make America a better place.
Thank you. Look, there's a person over there. Let's see what they think about our government. What do you think about our government?
I don't exactly trust our government. I mean, I have internal political advocacy because I've taken gov and stuff, but I don't have external, so I know a lot about politics, but I know I can't impact it, okay? And I know that since I can't impact it because I don't have the money or speech that wealthy individuals and large corporations do, that I basically can't do anything, so I don't trust it. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Even though it's more than a year to the election, politicians like Hillary Clinton and Michelle Bachmann have already declared their candidacy and are hard at work visiting bellwether states like Ohio and Iowa to determine how favorable their nomination chances are. Although Iowa still uses the caucus system to send delegates to the national convention, most states use the primary system. Generally, voters in primaries vote for delegates to attend the national convention, either on a winner-take-all or proportional basis. At the national convention, the nominees for president and vice president are announced, and a party platform is developed. Straw polls so far indicate that Bachmann is in the lead, but those polls tend to be inaccurate. Now, let's take a look at the interview CBS conducted with Republican nominee Michelle Bachmann.
I'm now joined with Michelle Bachmann. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
That's good. Okay, so let's begin. So I know campaign finances are really important. Where do you get yours from?
Well, I get most of my money from PACs and from wealthy individuals who set the national agenda, also from the Republican Party, my own savings, and other small contributors.
Like Chevron? I've heard that you've been supported by them quite extensively, and Elmo and CBS.
Yes, I'm very grateful for that support. And it's a good thing that PACs aren't as limited as they used to be under the Federal Election Campaign Acts and the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Acts. FICA established the FEC and limited contributions to candidates, but didn't limit independent expenditures or soft money. Now, the BCRA eliminated soft money contributions from corporations, unions, and trade associations. But thankfully, Citizens United, the FEC, struck down most of these regulations.
Well, you know what they say, soft money is free speech. Speaking of elections, what advantages do you think you have being as you've been an incumbent of Congress?
Well, as an incumbent, I have certain perks, as you might say, such as the franking privilege and patronage from businesses and individuals who have been supporting me all along. Having spent my last term doing casework and obtaining pork barreling funds from my districts, I already have a loyal constituency as well as a war chest of money built up to fund my presidential campaign.
Speaking of war chest, how much money have you collected over the years?
Well, it's private information that can't be disclosed,
Oh,
but
come on, you can.
you know how expensive these campaigns run.
Okay, fair
So
game.
it's a fair amount. And between you and me, since the state legislature represents the Republican Party, it's easier to gerrymander, which means that these benefits improve the public's opinion of me and help me to be re-elected again.
Nice. Thanks so much, Congresswoman Bachman. Thank you for your
It's a pleasure
time.
being here.
Good luck on your race.
Thank you.
Go here. Gerrymandering has been a serious issue in the past. The issue was first addressed in Baker v. Carr in 1962 when it was determined that state legislature must redraw district lines every 10 years after taking a census. Westbury v. Sanders established the redrawing of House congressional district lines in 1964. Shaw v. Reno dealt with social gerrymandering, establishing that majority and minority districts are okay as long as they are non-contiguous. Miller v. Johnson established benign racial discrimination is okay as long as districts have a community.
This year's election is shaping up to be an exciting battle between two strong women representing very different ideologies. Scientific polls so far have shown both candidates neck and neck at 50% each, with a sampling error of 3%. Since this election is so close, a horse race mentality has developed, which will increase voter turnout. It's election day, so let's head back out on the street to do an exit poll.
Here's a family coming out of the poll booth. Hey, how did you vote today and why?
Well, we all voted for Michelle Bachmann because we were raised to be Republicans, and we're high income and Protestant, so we're obviously more conservative. And since we're already going to vote for the presidential election, we also went ahead and voted Republican in the state and local elections.
And how did you vote today?
Oh, I couldn't vote today.
Why not? Current qualifications for voting are much lower than they used to be. The qualifications for race, gender, income, and literacy were eliminated by the 15th, the 19th, and 24th Amendments, as well as the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The minimum age was lowered to 18 by the 26th Amendment. The only qualifications now are citizenship, residency, age, and registration. What's stopping you from voting?
Well, it's really hard to register to vote, and even when I did, I couldn't get an absentee ballot. And besides, even when we wanted to get a day off from work, the boss didn't let us go and vote because he wanted us to work constantly. Anyways, I just don't think that voting has an impact. Like, what does it do? And besides, I don't really like Hillary or Michelle, so it's not worth it.
That's pretty terrible. I guess people who are educated, high income, older, and white are more likely to vote because there are fewer barriers. Here's a young college student coming out of the poll booth. Tell me, how did you vote today?
Well, high school didn't really change my political beliefs, only my civic duty. And today I voted for Hillary Clinton because I'm a registered Democrat, and I think that she can make America a better place. So I'm using prospective voting instead of retrospective. And also she agrees with me on sex-sensitive issues like abortion.
Sounds like you have some pretty strong opinions on abortion.
Well, yeah, my stance on abortion is stable, polarizing, and salient, which means that my opinion has stayed the same, that less than 75% of Americans agree with me, and that it's a really personal issue for me. It's not a fluid consensus or latent opinion.
Looks like it's shaping up to be a pretty interesting election day. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Andrea. We predict that Clinton, the Democratic candidate, will control the Northeast because of its urban and minority areas, the upper Midwest because of its strong unions and need for welfare, Southern Florida because of it's mostly populated by retired Northeastern transplants, and the West Coast because of their socioeconomic beliefs. We predict that Bachmann, the Republican candidate, will win the Midwest, the Great Plains, the Rocky Mountains, and the South because of its rural, white, and religious areas. The polls have spoken and the votes are in, but we still don't know who our new president is. While congressmen are selected via direct election by the people, the president is chosen by the Electoral College, which is a group of 538 electors that represent the states. with each state allotted a number of electors based on its population. Whichever candidate wins a plurality of the votes in the state wins all the state's electoral votes. In December, the electors meet to cast ballots. A candidate who gets a majority of electoral votes, which is around 270, wins the election. If no candidate obtains a majority, the president is chosen by the House and the vice president by the Senate.
You say she whacks it all off.
Studies show that today's youth have lower political efficacy than previous generations. Let's find out if this is true. So to end off our night, let's go talk with local youth to find out what they think about our government. Oh, look, here's a college student that we can talk to. What college do you go to?
I go to UCBC.
Okay, UCBC, I've never really heard of that.
It's the University of California behind Costco.
Okay, so what do you think about our congressional elections?
The congressional elections? Let me tell you, this is a travesty. America is crying, but like on the inside, because we're in a drought right now. I mean, like, who are these people and like, why are you?
I'm not sure I follow you.
Okay, so like, there's Obama, right? And he's pretty cool, I guess. But then there's like all this chaos about what to do with America, and it's like, what about the children? Fact, for every senator we nominate, there's another who doesn't. And fact, for every family that's too poor, there's another that's too rich. It's like switched incomes or something. And fact, for every one immigrant, there's like 5 males. And that's just supposed to be acceptable? Like, learn a book, America.
I mean, I guess, but that wasn't really my question.
It wasn't? Well, I have one for you. So like, why is there an Oompa Loompa in our Congress? Like, how did he get in there? And like, good for him.
You mean Congressman Boehner?
Oh my god, he has a name? That's so cute.
Thank you for your time, but there are other interviews I need to talk to as well.
Okay. Just leave me like 80 more minutes of your time. So like, I was reading about nominations the other day, and did you know that the president is kind of like a military pirate?
What?
He has this thing called a war chest, and like, my friend Trevor is like 43.7% sure he's gonna find Obama's. He's like gay, but he only likes women.
I don't think that's what a war chest is.
Yeah, okay, sure.
You know, I think that's all the time we have.
Okay, well, I have 16 words for you. Peace, love, get out the vote, don't kick rats, and some children can't read.
Okay then, thank you for your time. Alright, so here we are with one of our typical high school boys.
Wait, I thought when that girl asked me if I had some time, she was gonna... Oh man, not again.
Well, I just have a few questions for you. You're over 18, so did you vote in this year's election?
Nah man, I'm not really interested in like politics, you know, like, it doesn't really matter to me as long as I got a car to go to parties and stuff.
Well, it's understandable that our newly minted adults might not be too concerned with America's politics. Tell me, how did your high school civics class affect your outlook?
I mean, I failed that class, also a lot of other classes, so I was like, I'm definitely not gonna be a lawyer.
But you did learn about your civic duties as a citizen, right?
Oh, you mean like jury duty? Man, I got summoned like a week ago.
About a week ago.
And did you go?
Nah, I thought it was just a suggestion.
You do know that not showing up for that makes you in contempt of court, right?
What? Oh man. Whatever, civic duty's lame. My job at Mickey D's got me covered.
You do know that you have to pay a fine, right?
What? You don't just get street cred?
Okay, we'll move on. In your opinion, which type of primaries are best?
Primaries? Is that like when you tape two turtles together so that they're like unstoppable?
No, it's nothing like that, actually. So I don't think we're gonna get much useful information out of you.
Wait, I gotta send a selfie so that bay number 4 knows where I am. Okay, ready?
Hey, nice pick!
Okay, that's all.
Okay, it makes me worry about our youth a little, but thank you, average high school boy. We're done here.
In an effort to reach out to our broad viewership, we're televising a call-in line segment. Call us at 415-362-5550 for any questions regarding the upcoming election and our political systems.
Hello, good morning. My name is Julie.
I just moved here from France a few years ago with my husband. I would like to question some things about American politics. I feel like everything here is about equality, or the advertisements say that everybody is equal, but I feel I do not understand exactly how, because everybody is different. How can they be equal?
That's a very good question, Julie. Well, in America, we prioritize equality of opportunity more so than equality of condition. That is to say, everybody should have the opportunity to access resources like public libraries, education, transportation, and such. However, it's undeniable that not everybody will have equality of condition. Some people are born in richer families and others are not. Also, political equality is more realistic than economic equality. We can try to protect everybody's basic political rights like voting and free speech, but economic equality isn't so achievable.
You know, before I thought Americans just shoot people if they look suspicious. Oh, thank you very much for answering my question.
Hey, I had a question about primaries. So I know that in my state, if I register as a Republican, I can only get the Republican ballot, and I can't vote for someone in a different political party. But I have friends in different states who tell me they can vote for whoever they want. Can you explain this to me?
Of course, each state can choose how to set up their voting process as a part of their police powers. Now, it sounds like your state has a closed primary. So in a closed primary, only people registered for a party can vote, and only for people in that party. There are also open primaries where independents are allowed to choose which party's primary to participate in. It sounds like the states your friends are in have blanket primaries, so they can vote for candidates of different parties for different offices.
It's a war!
I'm Angela Chen with CBS News, signing off. Thank you for wasting your time with us on this segment. And my IQ has just decreased by 75%. So,
Ooh, CBS again. How you do?
Babe, I promise I'm at the library. No, babe, you're the only one. You're the only one for me. Only one. Only one.